This is a super special episode. I'm with Sagit Schwartz and Steph Lauer, and we are talking about Sagit's book, The Underdog. And oh,
Yay.
and if you're watching, you can see it. She's holding her paperback copy up. Um, and the other cool part about it, most of you probably know at this point, if you're a podcast listener, that I co-narrated with Sagit and produced it. And it was my first time doing all of that and her first time doing all of that except writing. So this will be a fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess before we totally dive into the audiobook part, I do always kind of like want to know where you got the inspiration for the story.
Well, I immediately start with that.
That's okay. I always start with so.
So in December of 2024, I released a novella that kind of led into this book. The novella is called Broken Threads, and it's a prequel of sorts for the underdog. It's about an older writer who loses her technical writing job to AI and is completely broke. She has 1 month's rent saved, doesn't know what she's going to do to pay bills or otherwise because she's been technical writing for 28 years. And she has a historical fiction book in a drawer that she has been unable to get published for years due
Mhm.
to her age, appearance, whatever her belief is in terms of why she hasn't been able to launch it. And she lives in an apartment building where there's an influencer who has gone through a breakup and is kind of also looking for her next opportunity. And she asks her if she will help promote the book, and things don't go according to plan. So
As
the
thrillers
underdog,
don't.
they take a deadly turn because of
Hmm.
course it's a thriller. And the underdog kind of got weaved in there in terms of this writer's next project. It's her next book. So it's a prequel of sorts. I wrote it really to be pure escapist fun and just to give people a break from daily life and all the struggles and heartache that is part of existence.
Yes.
But upon further reflection and thinking about it more as I was, preparing for this podcast, I do think thematically it there is a meditation on dreams because
Mm-hmm.
you have two characters and one cannot let go of her dream. She is in pursuit of it despite her ex-husband being cruel about it and it leading to her divorce and a lot of hard knocks in Hollywood, she still wants to become a director and she carries that deep inside of her soul. She doesn't let go of it for better or for worse. And then you have another character, an older woman in her 60s, who did have a dream, a very different one for her profession, but she never pursued it. Generationally, it really wasn't what women did at the time. And then the years passed and she stuffed it down. And one could argue that madness ensues, right?
Yes.
She was never able to pursue it. And it's just stirring and festering. And then, she can't, it comes out in other ways, like madness, which
Yes.
really is a nod to Norma Desmond in Sunset Boulevard.
Hmm.
Because in her case, it wasn't that she had a dream that she stuffed down and never pursued. She was a silent film actress, and then talking pictures came along.
Hmm.
She was cast aside like a nobody, and she dreams of the return to the screen and goes mad in her own way because of the fact that her dream and it was just snatched from her from the outside.
Hmm.
So I do think that thematically there is this meditation on dreams. But I would say, first and foremost, I just wrote it for readers to have a really fun time
Yes.
reading it
Totally.
or listening. Read a
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you were talking, it was making me think about how when we were first talking about this project, you mentioned that you wanted to get into acting, and so this was like a cool moment for you to get to be a voice actor. So it was just dawning on me that like your dream is kind of interwoven in there too, and all of my
well,
bookish dreams to keep doing bookish things.
bookish things. Well, I moved to Los Angeles in 2001 and really did have the dream of becoming an actor. And life took me in other ways. And I had many, not many, but I had a few careers before the writing career, from teacher to licensed psychotherapist and practicing to writing. But storytelling never went away. That dream never went away. And how cool to be full circle and get to narrate this book. I mean, it's funny because I'm still connected with a lot of that acting crew that, I was with back in the day, and everyone's done different things. Teachers, acting teachers, coaches, all different things. And they're so excited because they're like, oh my God, Sagit, I can't wait to listen to you narrate this because it's been so many decades since I've acted in any capacity. I had so much fun returning to that. Very different kind of storytelling than writing, which
Hmm.
is quieter and more inward.
Yes.
But it was, I really, also, Norma is a great character to play. She's
Yeah.
Hmm.
fun.
Yes. You have one chapter where you give it your all. You might
Yeah,
have
I
two,
was just
actually.
thinking about that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Kate was like, I think you should submit this to some audio award, this chapter
The
to audio.
Audis, is that what it's called? There's
I,
something.
Something like that.
But yeah, that
yeah.
might be more of the car brand, but I can't remember. There's something. Audible has some kind of awards. So yeah, also I love that we've got, is she Lily? Why can't I think of your
Really,
cat's name?
yeah.
Okay, I was right. I love that
Yeah.
Lily's just in the corner. Anyone who's watching, she's just like hanging with the girls in the corner of the screen. She's like, tell me about this.
Like the canines are out of the picture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my
But
canine is
Kate,
really peeking about.
also, it was interesting for me when I was listening to you perform Liz. There were lines about her pursuing her dreams, and they felt so resonant. They felt
Mhm.
like they were coming from someplace deep inside of you.
Yeah, yeah,
So that was really, and you can't, I mean, when it comes from something that visceral and that deep, you can't fake that. So
yeah.
I heard those lines, coming from you.
It was fun because I was recording all of it, all of my recording sessions because of my dog who's warming up a bark over here right now. Um, I was like, I can't like podcast, if he interrupts a little bit, that's fine. But like needing to like get through chapters, I was like, I'm just not able to do it here. So I was also recording it in like a private the rooms that you can rent in a library. So I was like surrounded by books and I was just like this is just the best. I have an excuse to go be in the library and think
Yeah,
about all my book dreams. So yes, it was so
Yeah.
fitting on so many levels.
it really was. And as an outsider listening to it, it was just so cool to like hear voices that you've heard before. And also,
That's what I wanted to ask you about.
oh yeah, it was cool. I do typically listen on a little faster speed, so like that was kind of fun to just like hear Kate go in like 1.5. But but I thought I was telling Kate before you got on, Sagit, that I love when authors read their novels. Like so often nonfiction authors will read or a
Mhm.
memoir, something, but like I love hearing the way like you want it to be told.
Mhm.
So I think that's so special when authors read their fiction. you know? And so I think that it, like the way that you were so in it, you're like, this is exactly how I wrote it. It's exactly how I wanted it to be read, how I wanted people to hear it. Like, I think that's such a special experience for you, I'm sure.
Yeah, it really was meaningful. And she's just so juicy, Norma.
Yes. You gave yourself good material to work with.
Yeah.
So just to be that level of crazy and for it to be legal
Yes.
is really great.
What a
I love
release.
it.
Oh man. It's
Oh
Was there
my
probably
anything that
goodness.
surprised you about narrating it?
What?
Was there anything that surprised you about narrating it?
Not the narrating it, but actually I've had some interesting experiences marketing the narrating part of it. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, this week alone, I posted something on TikTok about how my daughter abandoned me,
Mm-hmm.
going no contact. And boy, I got all these responses. Our kids don't owe us anything. I hope you know that. Like thinking that this was, and so it's like, no, this is my book. This is
I'm
an arc
pitching my book.
as a mom, in a fiction book, so because it's a whole thing on TikTok. This
Mhm.
particular issue is
Mm-hmm.
it is, it is very widespread on there.
Yeah.
So I think that the marketing probably more surprising than the actual narrating. I thought that I would have fun with
Mm-hmm.
it, and I did. It's hard work. I
Yeah. It
mean,
is.
really,
It's like
it
mentally different than what you expect. And you're
yeah.
and physical, like with as I ran into with my throat.
And also the repetitive, like, you get things wrong and repeating. And
Mhm.
so the
And you don't
I
want your
guess the
frustration to
rigor
come
of
through.
what?
And you don't want your frustration to come through that you're messing it up. You have to like just like tamp it down.
I think so. I would say maybe the rigor of it surprised
Mm.
me a bit.
Yeah.
The rigor of doing an audiobook
Yeah.
recording.
I kind of I when I like first sat down to just do my first recording, it was like I just sat down and I was just like staring at the mic and I was like, how do I start? Like there's just that feeling since it's such a new thing that I'd never
Yes.
done before. And I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, okay, well, you're just gonna have to start and do it. And actually, what was kind of surprising for me was that then, like, once I started, I was like, oh, some part of me knows how to generally do this.
Well, I have to say, Kate, I've gotten a lot of feedback about you and how talented you are and how
Oh,
much people love your voice.
oh
So,
my gosh.
um, it truly, I mean, I was always a fan, which is why I asked you to co-narrate with me. But, outside people who don't know you at all are messaging me and
Oh,
telling me as much.
oh my gosh. That means so
Yeah.
much. I
It was
used to
Oh,
really
think I didn't have a nice voice. I thought I had like kind of a like and manly voice. So this was like also a fun experience to be like,
yes.
oh, I guess I don't.
I felt like it sounded like so crisp and really clean.
And
Um, yeah.
accessible and natural,
Mhm.
all of those things
Yeah.
with Kate's performance. One
Yeah.
thing I will say I found a parallel though with writing and narrating. There's some days when you write where nothing comes out right. Like it just, for the life of you, every sentence, it's like pulling teeth and it's just not happening. And I had narrating days like that as well, where I was just like, gosh, I can't do one good take. I can't do one good sentence. So that was interesting because I was like, oh, there's a parallel between and probably in every creative process and field, there's days where it's just not, connecting, and then you leave it alone and you come back another day and it's all seamless and happening fluidly.
Yeah. Since we're all ladies here, not that we couldn't talk about it if they were men. I learned that when I'm in my luteal phase, editing myself is like so much more difficult. I like hate on myself. I'm like, why did I say that? And then like a few days later, I'm like, this was perfectly fine. So it is the process of editing yourself is thankfully I've had like 4 or 5 years of getting used to that. So I'm a little more used to it, but I was even having days sometimes where I was like, I don't want to edit myself right now. So it was just a unique, all of it was unique. And to what you're saying about how some days it was different. Um, I had one of those happen where like it was the day that I was like, okay, I think I can fit these 2 hours in because that's like the limit at the library. But I had to leave, like I had a hard stop because I think I had to pick Tyler up from the airport. And I got home that day and I listened to it. And the fact that I had felt rushed all day translated into it, I had to redo all those chapters because I was like trying to get everything done so that I could even go record. And then I was like, and now I need to get out of here and go pick Tyler up. And I was like, so like the set, what do they say? That's what they normally say about mushrooms, like setting and something like has a big impact on what your experience is going to be. Your
Mm,
mindset really does matter. It's going to be really hard to narrate because as we've talked about, 1x speed needs to be relatively, it's slower than your talking voice.
Yeah.
So you don't want to go into it feeling rushed in your brain because you just won't catch it. At least I couldn't. Maybe some people, especially if they've done it for years, they can. But I was like, oh boy, I was motor mouthing these. But you just have to learn all those things.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
like when you called me about it and you were like, I think I want you to do it. I
No,
was
I
like,
knew I wanted you to,
you
but I
did, you
said
did.
I said I know, I want to give you time to think about it
Yeah,
because I didn't something that I said to you, you don't have to answer me on the spot. Take a night,
yeah.
sit with it, and let me know.
Yeah, mainly I was just like telling her, I was like, I've just literally never done it, so I don't know. And then, I mean, I can't think of anything big that was like, we didn't really run into like a super unexpected, it's like speed bump or anything. Like, I don't think we hit anything that was like, oh, this is so much harder than I thought it would be. Like it's like you're saying, it's kind of just the endurance of it and like getting yourself to go sit down and read. And if you mess up, sound like you didn't mess up. It's just all of those things. But we didn't really run into like, oh no, are we gonna have it on time? Like we weren't running into any of that, thankfully.
No, no. Well,
I was
that's also
surprised.
credit to you as a producer.
I mean, I think there were multiple times because sometimes I would be editing, and you would be like listening, or we'd be doing different things but related to it. And I was like, I get on my soapbox about how the internet is what you make it. And I'm like, this is that reason to me of like, it's so cool that the internet can make these things possible, where like
Yes.
Sagit was recording in
Apps,
California and I was recording in
amazing.
Indiana. And I think we
So
did it in
true.
like 32 days. Like it was pretty quick.
It's so true. And
Yeah.
meeting people through the book world that live
Mhm.
in all different places in the country and the world. I mean, that is an amazing part of the
Yeah.
internet.
Yeah. It's so cool that it can happen that way now.
It
Obviously,
is.
I love it.
what do you about the story part of the book? Like, what was your evolution from? Like, I know since she was gone, right?
Yes.
I
Since
want
she's
to say you for
gone.
some reason, but since she was gone, like I know that was a from listening to this podcast, like a more personal story.
Mhm.
And then what was your evolution to like Broken Thread and then the Underdog? Like how did you go from something more personal? I know you said like there's so much going on, let's just have some fun. But like to
Yes.
the novella and then this, like what was the series of events?
Well, I mean, since she's been gone, took a pound of flesh to write in terms of emotionally. All books are difficult to write. That goes without saying, but it was especially hard because thematically it was so personal and there were themes that were quite difficult to get into. So I needed a break from that. So that was going on. I knew I needed something lighter. And then with Broken Threads, it was really, I think, on the heels of, I can't recall if it was exactly, but it was around the time that I found out, since she's been gone, had actually been fed into one of the AI training
Oh,
model
oh.
machines and, stolen basically for that purpose. And what was going on with writers and
Mhm.
AI and artists in general, and just the in my mind, the big questions really around that, like where does this leave humanity at large?
Mm.
Artists, if there's an attempt to replace artists who are trying to mirror human experience,
Mhm.
then what are we going to be left with? So that was kind of in my head in terms of broken threads and Claire losing her job to AI as a technical writer. And then the influencer culture, because she hires a young, pretty influencer to promote her book,
Mhm.
who then takes it on as her own, because she's like, it'll go much more viral if, a 24-year-old wrote a historical fiction novel, and it does. It has,
Yeah.
and so I think that's where my headspace was. It was all about AI, artists, writers, publishing, and then that organically led to the Underdog. And I thought it would be so much fun to just have a modern twist on Sunset Boulevard, even though I know it's kind of
Mhm.
an ancient, now at this point, an ancient cultural reference. And probably most people that read The Underdog have not seen the film, or I mean, maybe they know a little bit about it, as Norma Desmond is a caricature. So I thought it would be so fun because she's such an interesting character. And
Mhm.
she also was replaced. She was a silent film actress who was replaced by talking pictures. Okay, so
Mhm.
what is happening now to artists? Are we going to be replaced by chatbots? Like
Mhm.
where is all this going?
Yeah, like that new AI actress just was announced or whatever.
Yes.
Like a studio
They're called synthetic
synthetic.
performers.
Ah,
Okay, they're not actors. Actors are human beings.
that's a
I'm
good
a
point.
member of the Screen Actors Guild, and I actually heard the president being interviewed about this.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
The SAG president.
SAG,
Yeah.
yeah, about this issue.
Yeah.
I listened to a podcast interview like 2 weeks ago about
Yeah.
this synthetic performer.
That's a good, I like that delineation, basically. Are they trying to regulate it or can they not?
It's
Because of,
each of these platforms is doing its own thing. And
okay.
so, and a lot of the platforms are making the bet that they can just do things and
Okay.
use copyrighted stuff and deal with the fallout at a later, legal fallout at a later date, when that they'd rather be in on the gold rush.
Yeah.
And because the laws aren't there yet, they
Yeah,
don't
they don't
exist
exist
yet.
and they're not allowed to for 10 years now. Is that what it is?
Well, these cases are making their way through the courts.
Okay.
Um, the wheels of justice are always slow. And so I don't, the laws haven't caught up. So a lot of these entities are just, they're thinking, okay, well, we'll be in on the gold rush and then we'll be so rich that we can just pay off all the legal issues at a later date. But again, it depends on the platform and what they're doing. It kind of the latest one that came out turned everything upside down in terms of copyright, opt in versus opt out. Because
Okay.
historically, you had to opt in, the default was opt out. Now they're putting the onus on opting out. Like everyone's in
Oh.
until you opt out.
Hmm.
And so that's a huge shift in terms
Yeah.
of, and so I just read that last week, like, a bunch of the talent agencies opted all of their clients out, all the
Hmm.
actors out of Sora,
Yeah.
whatever, the latest,
Mm-hmm. Sora
and
too. Yeah.
yeah, so it's a long way of answering um, your question, but it's technology in terms of how I came up with Broken Threads,
Mm-hmm.
technology, my own book, first book being stolen
Mm-hmm.
to train an AI model, and then thinking about a technical writer losing their job to AI. What was really interesting is I was marketing it on Threads, and a couple of technical writers messaged me and
Wow.
said, I just lost my job to AI,
Oh,
and your book came up in my algorithm, and I'm buying it. Um,
wow.
so this is real. It's not like a theoretical thing. It's actually really, all this stuff is happening.
Yeah.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the with the underdog, you have the reality TV show
Oh, yes. Yes.
aspect. Do you want to talk about adding that?
I really, gosh, I really love singing competition shows. Like that's just the thing that I happen to love. I have a horrible voice. I
I
wish that
don't
I could
sing.
sing. It's something I wish I could. I would if like someone said to you, "What is the one talent you wish you had had in your life that you don't have?" Singing would be it for me.
Yeah.
And so I just admire people so much, who go on these shows, whether it's AGT or The Voice or American Idol, and they're just singing their heart out for stardom, trying to chase their dreams. And so that definitely is a personal love of mine. And I don't think I'm the only one, because on social media, all these shows have accounts and people respond to the performances.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
So they are cheering on their favorites and hoping, for people to get record deals. And I mean, that's
Yeah.
now the public square where people are discovered is online.
Mm-hmm.
Not like how it was 30 years ago or even 20.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just something that I love. I'm not, there's other reality TV shows that I've dabbled in through the
Mm-hmm.
years, but consistently the ones that I always love are the singing competitions.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. They're a little more upbeat.
I get
Yeah.
caught in like rabbit holes online of like, oh, what happened to like that one girl with the little ukulele, Grace Vanderwall, like
Oh,
from
yes.
like she was
Yes.
so great. And then I'm like, whatever happened to her? Because occasionally it'll pop back up in your algorithm, right? Like some
Yeah.
of those really cool performances that are really like special and make you cry and stuff. And so
Mm-hmm.
like
Yes.
they are really powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
So
I
oh,
also
go ahead.
think it's a fun genre in with thrillers like reality
Mm-hmm.
television. It's not a common one, but it's a fun one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, like the stakes are so high, like emotions are so high, like the nervousness and maybe like the confidence and like it has a lot of things that could go wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and competition in general doesn't always bring out people's best sides.
And I also like, the show in the book is called The Underdog, and it's really a group of misfits in terms of
Mm-hmm.
the contestants who have been
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah, you took that
rejected
approach.
in in public life for whatever reason. And that's always fun. I mean, like I love Slow Horses, right? Because it's a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of MI5 misfit agents who have been
Yes.
cast aside because they've screwed up in colossal ways and they can't be part of the regular organization. So they, house them in the middle of nowhere, and they
Mm-hmm.
constantly messing up and kind of get by barely. And so here on the underdog, you have contestants who also have questionable backgrounds.
Yes.
And so, the idea of a group of misfits who all
Mm-hmm.
have great voices who
Yes.
are vying in this competition.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The other thing I was remembering, you do like make a lot of different pop culture references. Like you reference, I guess I won't say, is that in this? No, it's not in the synopsis, but you do reference a really, really popular thriller, the book and the author. You have
Oh yeah.
some movie references. I feel like you have some funny joke about, is it an A24 film? Is that what it was? Or am I mixing my books together? I might be mixing my books together, but does that part come naturally just because like you're interested in pop culture, or do you like think about inserting those?
I don't think about it. No,
Oh,
that would just
nice.
come
That's cool.
naturally.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. It's just,
I
yeah.
love when authors do that. I know some people are divided on that, and I'm like, give me the pop culture references.
Why not?
Yeah, some people are like, but it makes the book less timeless. And I'm like, if anything, it's just reflecting the time period of when it was
Right.
written. Like,
Right. No, it's true. I mean, there are those books that stand the test of time that don't have any
yeah,
references. But then to your point, okay, well, this is a slice of this era, of this
yeah.
time, and
Like Shakespeare is using slang of his time period. It just, we don't think of it that way anymore.
right, right.
Just pulled Shakespeare into this,
I,
apparently.
I did, when it came to Norma, since she was older, I
Mm,
did at times think about her language
mm,
and how she spoke because she
hmm
wasn't going to sound like a 30-year-old.
Yeah.
So her her language is, at least my attempt at skewing a bit older.
hmm Yeah. And you throw in a couple phrases where you can tell she's like kind of using them wrong or awkwardly,
Yeah.
basically. And it's so cute. It's the cutest thing she does. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything else is a little wild.
Yeah. On that note, I felt like I wanted to like, did you have a lot of fun just like being bonkers? Because I feel like some of it is just like wild. And I think that was like what you were going for is like a lot of thriller readers just like want to read some wild stuff. And I think you accomplished that. And like it had to have been
Yeah.
fun. And then also, like Kate said, when you mentioned like I noticed, I was like, it kind of seems like a love letter to like some, you know, I don't want to say tropes, but like there are some things that I'm like, little pieces of like my favorite thrillers I feel like came together in this book. And I don't know if that was intentional, but I liked that about it. I'm like, I think it seemed like a fun time to write.
Yeah, you know, I, I've gotten multiple texts like or in messages from readers I haven't met. Oh my God, Norma is crazy. Oh my God, Norma, and one reader actually, she's like, I have specifically this year gotten into unhinged characters, and this is one of the best that I've read this year.
That's
Yeah.
So I
awesome.
do think there's a lane. I think
hmm
there are people that are just looking for that
hmm
because it's so removed from reality
Mm.
that it is a form of escapism.
Yeah.
Totally.
You
Totally.
know, because it's like, okay, you know that you're taking leaps of faith here. You know,
Yes.
it's grounded enough, but
Yeah.
there's stuff that's so that you're just like, okay, I'm going on this roller coaster, and that's what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, but I didn't think about other thrillers when I was writing it.
hmm
I just wrote it. In fact, I've seen in a couple reviews people liken it to a thriller that I still have not read. Lottie, is
Oh,
that her name? The one it was released this year.
Oh,
too old for
Samantha
this?
Downing,
Samantha
too
Downing.
old for this.
Yes. Yeah. I comped it to that.
I have not read that book yet,
Yeah.
you know, but so
It's the characters are the same vibe. The plot's very different. So you're
okay.
good.
Well, again, things just there's overlaps
Oh,
in
totally.
in the genre.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, but I think it took like some of the, I mean, like unintentionally, I think like some of the best stuff from like, people love unhinged mother daughter or like mother, or familial relationships. People love in, like the, I don't want to say like a sanitarium or something, but like people love a setting of like mental instability, like I think it takes like a lot of people's like favorite things
Mm-hmm.
and puts them together.
Yeah.
I was trying not to spoil anything, but I was
I
like, well,
know,
we
I
know they're
get
the
it.
underdogs and that like there's a,
Yeah, no, it was really a fun one to write and just also have a character who's just so, just justifying everything that they do
Mm-hmm.
internally.
Yeah.
And you come across people like this in life. You
Mm-hmm.
really do. This might take it in a heightened way, but just that was really fun.
Mm-hmm. I don't think
Someone
it's a spoiler to say that at some point she's having to take care of a baby and she basically is like, now nap and don't cry and don't wake up. That's like the gist of it. And I was just cracking up because she really probably believed that the baby would listen and just do it. A baby.
that's been a high compliment when reviewers say that they laughed several
Yes.
times while reading, because
Yes.
uh, that that is a high compliment.
You had some funny lines in there too
yeah,
of
yeah,
her feeling so persecuted.
Yes, yes. Poor Norma.
Yeah,
Yeah,
poor Norma.
poor
You could have called
Norma.
the book that too.
yeah.
You also, so another thing that people love, since we're talking about kind of all the things that are in there, is mixed media. And you
Oh,
have,
yes, yes, yes.
yeah, you have a
Oh,
decent amount of that. And so I was wondering, was that from the get-go, were you kind of like, well, this is an important part of like reality TV, like that's why I want to include it? Or did you kind of get to a point and you were like, I think having this type of mixed media will help like give perspective to the story? What were you kind of thinking?
well, in terms of Reddit, there's a bunch of Reddit
Mhm.
entries. And
Yeah.
at first, it was a great way to respond to the excitement of the show and the
Mhm.
performances. But then as it went on, I realized, oh, this could also be a good
Mm.
avenue to tell another part of the story as well. That organically I developed as I was writing.
Yeah.
But
That's
I
cool.
personally, I'm a huge fan of Reddit. I think it's like a gigantic town square. I learned so much from it.
Yes.
I get a lot of information.
Yeah.
It's actually really useful.
Mhm.
And then it also, I think it added another dimension to the story
Mhm.
and, breaks up chapters because you're just
Mhm.
like, oh, you got to keep things fresh and moving, especially in the thriller genre.
Right.
Uh, I mean, I'll never forget, and since she's been gone, the opening scene, literally the opening scene is a woman who believed her mother, her late father told her mother died in a car accident when she was 15 years old. She's now 40. She's a psychologist, and a so-called new patient arrives to her office and tells her, your mother's still alive, actually, and she's in danger.
Mhm.
And she doesn't believe her. And the woman gives her a bracelet that her mother wore, and she runs out. And that happens in the first 2 pages of the book.
Mhm.
I had readers writing reviews saying this was way too slow of a start, way too slow.
Wow.
And but that was very informative to me. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is a genre where the expectations keep things going.
Yeah.
There's no slowing down with this. You gotta
Mhm.
keep things going. And I do think that the Reddit kind of that helps that, you know.
Mhm.
It's like this other, oh, what's going on here? Oh, now we're back there. Oh, keeping
Right.
things fresh and going.
What another, just because we're talking about little like synchronicities and coincidences, when you were talking about Reddit, I also love it. Again, it's another thing where like Reddit is
Yep.
what you make it. Like it is very, very useful if you're using it for certain things. But the crazy part is, so Norma has a daughter who is no contact with her. Is that in the synopsis? That's not a teaser, right? Or a spoiler, right?
It's in the
No,
very
Okay.
beginning.
Okay.
it's in the first chapter.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. You're right. It's in the first chapter. So
Yeah.
the interesting thing, people know I'm no contact with both of my parents. However, it was Reddit forums when I got to college and had like my own internet access finally. It was Reddit for shout out are raised by narcissists is what made me finally feel like I wasn't
Wow.
going crazy anymore.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and so it's kind of crazy. Both of those themes are in this book now, too. Like Reddit was like my guiding light when I couldn't pay for therapy. It was kind of awesome.
Oh, I mean, people share so much
Yeah.
and knowledge from the most mundane things, like if you have an obscure old refrigerator that's not working and how to
Yeah.
get it going, to things that are more profound, like what you
hmm
just brought up. So it's like a
hmm
gigantic town square. That's
And
how
it's
I
fun to do
think.
with books too, if they're widely known. I know Steph does that too. Like when it's like, but especially ones that are like complicated or there's purposeful ambiguity, people will just like talk about a book
Oh,
forever.
okay. I haven't.
Aardvark has a really like the book subscription, they have a really
Yes.
active subreddit too.
I did not know.
Yeah.
As an author, I tend to stay away from
I don't blame you.
stuff.
I've only used it when there's like an open-ended
hmm
ending, or I just finished Bunny by
hmm
Mona Awad, and like the way there's probably like on there's infinite interpretations of that book.
Okay.
What's real, what's not,
Mm-hmm.
was it a fever dream? We don't know. Or like an open-ended ending, like what? And so
hmm
I think that that's where I found it the most useful. I'm like, did I miss something? So it's more like you said, like we're coming together to share information to see if there's answers, more so than like I don't really use it for like reviewing it necessarily.
Mm-mm.
More like, oh, what
No.
did you all think?
Yeah.
Right, right. Like the town square, like people are hanging
hmm
out, chatting about
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a cool element. And then you also do include a lot of TikTok because the character I voice, Liz, is like part of her job is to be paying attention to it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you nailed the TikTok culture. I'm not gonna lie. As someone who used to scroll and scroll and scroll, and then audiobooks, it's crazy how much audiobooks cut my TikTok time down. But I used to be on TikTok a lot, and those were
Right.
fun. Those were fun too. They weren't like direct mixed media because it wasn't like a break in
Yeah.
the story, but it's like my character's monitoring comments. So there's a little bit of TikTok in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a little bit of a love letter to TikTok. It's like all social media, it's changed over time, and who knows
hmm
what its future holds. But there is, especially when it comes to these singing shows, there's a bit of that town square feeling in terms of people responding to an
hmm
amazing performance and being so lit up by it. And I don't have many friends that are into reality TV singing shows. So it's nice to go on TikTok and see other people who
Yes.
get fired up about an amazing performance.
That's what I used to say about reading because I like people in my regular life were not reading what I read. So it
Mhm.
was that same experience where it was really fun discovering Bookstagram and even like NetGalley kind of also
Yeah.
adds to that, where then like you do get to talk to more readers. Like I'm just not running into readers very often. Well, I guess I'm going to more bookish events because all of a sudden Indiana
Yeah.
has them, but
Yeah.
outside of
I see
that,
you going to a lot of them.
it's crazy how many I never would have thought this many would be in Indiana. I was sitting with Karen and Cindy were their names at Tiffany D. Jackson. I think they were approaching their 70s. They had the
Mm.
same little white bob haircut. And we were just yapping about books together. And I was like, so do you like Tiffany D. Jackson? And they're like, no, we're just in a book club with some of our friends. And like, they don't really switch it up or like find new authors. So we just love coming to these events and finding more. And I just wanted to hug them. I was like, you
Oh,
guys are
that's
so
so
sweet.
great.
But yeah,
That's,
sometimes you can get a little bit of that feeling in like Reddit or TikTok or Bookstagram.
yeah.
I love that.
Oh,
That's
that's
so cute. Oh my God.
I just wanted to hug them like multiple times. I got there an hour early
oh,
because I wanted to like basically if you don't at some of these events, you're like waiting in the signing line until like 9 p.m., which is my
Mm.
bedtime.
mhm.
Um, so I got there an hour early and I was like, I can just read, obviously. But we just talked the whole time. They read all genres. We were just talking about all kinds of authors. They were telling me about Frederick Bachman was on Jimmy Fallon and he hasn't apparently that was his first interview and it was so cute. The one next to me leaned over, she was like, look it up on your phone. Just look it up on YouTube. Frederick Bachman, Jimmy Fallon. It is such a cute. She was like, just look it up on your phone and save it and watch it when you get home. And she was just like showing me. I was like, this is just the best. So I do love it. It's always fun finding your community.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love they were there for the scammers. Like I love a
Yes.
YA, a Y. I just love
It's
it.
like YA kind of thrillery. Like I don't know if it's even technically called, but yeah, I they talked about
That's so
Stephen
great they
King.
were there for that.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah. It made me really happy. It was probably like the events are always fun, but this one, like the audience and then the who Tiffany was in conversation with Lee Johnson, they were just really good conversationalists. And the audience was just like, dare I say, lit. Like the audience was like clapping and they're also both banned. They both have banned books. So it was also
Oh, wow. Okay.
so that topic got brought up. So there was a lot of people like agreeing with the like let's not ban books essentially. So it was cool. It was a good experience. I really liked that one. And I've taken us completely off the rails, but it was so fun.
Book
Bookish
talk
content.
is so good.
True. Yes. I'm trying to think, did I have another I can't remember if I had another question about the story. It might have, I think the mixed media was my main one.
Yeah, I was going to ask that and then I forgot. So I was glad that you.
Was there anything harder about writing this one? Because I know it was less emotional. We've kind
Yeah.
of talked about that, but was there anything where you're like, oh, this is different or whatever?
It's just always daunting to write something. So you're like, how am I going to do this? Can I do every time I go to write anything, I'm like, can I do this? I know it's so silly because you
Yeah.
would think that the more you do it and have proof that you can, the doubts would diminish, but they actually don't. For
Hmm.
me anyway, each time it's like, oh my goodness, can
Yeah.
I actually do this?
Yeah.
And now I have a new project in my mind. I'm like, will I be able to do
You will,
Hmm.
but you'll
it?
doubt yourself while you're doing it.
Just
Actually,
like,
Tiffany D. Jackson was talking about this same thing. I think she said this is her 10th book. And
yeah.
she was talking to one of her friends a couple months ago and was like, I really should go. I really think I need to get into an MFA program. I've never been trained. And she like laughed at her and she was like, are you kidding me right now? And she's like, well, I still just don't feel like a like writer. And like meanwhile, she has 10 books out. So the imposter syndrome is just a hard one to beat.
It's just like, oh my God. And then sometimes when I was narrating, I'm like, I can't believe I actually wrote this. Like, like because it's just so like, wow, okay. Because enough time had passed, I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah, that actually happened.
It is like anytime. I mean, I even kind of felt that way when we finished it because we didn't have to do it quickly, but we wanted to have a buffer around
Right.
your pub date. And then I also knew I was just going to get swamped going into September, basically. But even like, when was it? I think it was last week. It was actually like the day that we ended up getting our approval from Audible. Tyler and I were driving and I was telling him, I was like, I can't believe that I like that audiobook thing just like happened last month. And
Right,
like
right.
now we're back to doing other things. I'm like,
Yeah.
it was just like poof, it's just like kind of flew
Yeah.
by.
So yeah, I think that's the hard part. Well, coming up with an idea and
Hmm.
then that almost can be harder than the dawn than okay, well now I have to write it.
Yeah.
But so that's what was probably those were the challenges.
Yeah. I can't remember. Do you outline or are you kind of a hybrid?
No, I knew how the book started and how it ended, but I
Okay.
didn't know how I was going to get there.
Okay.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that
That's the blank pages.
that evolution, yeah. So I knew that final scene that was going to happen I knew that that was going to
hmm
happen, and then I knew that you'd have these two characters, and then their lives would intersect. And
hmm
that was a fun thing to do because I mean, I have a very bad habit. I mean, it's not bad, but it's maybe a little obsessive. I watch so many mystery and thriller and detective series on TV. And one of them is called Unforgotten. And I've talked to you about it,
Yeah,
Kate.
you sold me on this one. I need to
Yeah, and
time.
it's about cold cases. And
hmm
so it's like a cold case from decades and decades ago, and you're following four strangers who are living totally different lives, but they're all connected to this cold case that
Hmm.
happened decades and
That's
decades
so cool.
ago. And so I like the idea, like in this book, you have two characters. It's like, how are their lives going to intersect? Because
hmm
when the book starts, it's different years, different timelines. There's a show in common, a contestant on a show, but like, how is it all going to connect? So that's kind of a fun trope.
hmm Yeah, I like that. Gare was actually saying he just started the book The Business Trip, and he
Oh,
I've
said,
heard of that.
yeah, I remember seeing the cover everywhere, and he was telling me that it's a woman goes missing on a business trip, but it's told from like three or four perspectives of the
Interesting.
other women or other
Okay.
women that were there. And I was like, that is such a fun structure.
Right?
hmm
Yeah.
yeah, there
So,
I read that one. There's a lot of I think there's a full cast
Oh,
narration.
really?
It takes place
oh,
in I think the author's from Wisconsin, so I was like sold on it and it takes place there a little bit, but there's a lot of perspectives of how it all
Ooh,
wraps together. Yeah.
I need to try it out,
hmm.
especially that full cast.
Oh, well, yeah, for sure.
Um, do you have any questions?
I feel like all mine were
I think
answered.
we've
Yeah.
managed them all.
Yeah.
Unless you want to talk about what you're working on next.
I know. I don't know if everyone likes being asked back.
Yeah.
So I just
Oh,
kind of leave it.
it's very early days,
Yeah.
but it actually is a cold case
Ooh.
uh,
Mm.
story. So
Ooh, that would be fun.
yeah, and oh, this is absolutely coincidental, but we moved to a new city in June, and a few weeks ago, I joined a walking group
Hmm.
that meets once a week, walks about an hour by the ocean. We live in a beach town, and there's four of us. And one of the women, her, this is completely coincidental. Her husband, who's about to retire, was a homicide detective, and he worked a lot of cold cases. And I
Wow.
had this idea for my book before, or I don't know if it'll be a book, short story, novella, I don't know yet. But I was like, oh my goodness, okay, this is meant to be. This is meant to be because
Yeah.
I have someone that I can really like talk to, who was in the field and who worked these cases for years and years. And she told me he refuses to watch any of the shows.
I bet.
It probably would
He,
ruin the experience.
well, no, he's just like, good for them for wrapping it up in 45 minutes. I'm still knocking on doors 3 years later,
Right.
you know, working a cold case,
Yes.
Yeah.
Ugh, yeah.
so,
That's a lot. That's so
but yeah,
cool though.
Yeah.
What a
if
cool
it's a
walking
cold
group.
case, it's another elderly character. Um, although I wouldn't say 60 is elderly in terms of the woman in the underdog, but this woman is older than that though. So little older, and cold case, and there is some AI stuff as well. So again, early days. I've never written anything that involved a cold case, so it's daunting at this point. But
Yeah.
I like that, that in terms of, I watch so much of that kind of content on television. I don't, trying to think in terms of, detective stuff. When it comes to books, I don't read a ton of thrillers that have cold cases. I have, but not a ton. So maybe that's why it's daunting, because it's just not so naturally in my wheelhouse.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see your take on a cold case.
Yeah.
Uh,
All your books will be so different, which is
Mhm.
cool. Mhm.
I don't, the thing is that the one thing that you do, okay, so they might all be in the thriller genre, but like readers then start expecting certain things from you. So maybe if I switch it up enough, they won't expect. But I can't just keep doing the same thing. If that happens naturally, if I come up with an idea that I'm passionate about, that's in the same wheelhouse as another thing, I'll do it. But I really have to go where the idea leads me. I, I can't write just to write to
Yeah.
keep people's expectations happy. I just,
It's
because
just not, yeah, like that's not what the way you want to approach
Right.
writing.
It wouldn't seem authentic, I think, for you, and it might not be as successful if it's not what you want to be doing.
it's too, writing is hard enough, but then to write something to just for the marketplace or to please others, or
Yeah.
then it's just like another
Yeah.
obstacle to overcome.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
know there are some authors who are literally like, what kind of book do I need to write? And their editor like tells them what's trending and they're like, okay. And I'm like, I mean, to each their own, but that seems difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So to be continued on that one.
Yes.
Mhm.
Thank you
Yes.
both so much for
Oh,
taking
thank
time to
you.
chat about
Gosh,
the
yeah,
under.
thank
It's
you.
so
And
fun.
thank you, Steph, for listening to
Of
our
course.
debut.
Yeah.
I felt like so special. I was like, has anyone else read this yet? Like, listen to it. So I thought that was so cool.
Yeah. It was all cool. It's
And
been
like I said,
cool.
I love listening. I mean, obviously, I met Kate through listening to her, and I love when authors read their books. It was just like such a cool combo.
Yeah.
We'll see how what the readers think, the listeners think.
Yeah. I know. I'm excited to hear.